This is Rainbow Six Siege's new operator, Skopos. Hey guys, it's Cole Ross, and welcome to 6 News. So let's break down this new operator, and you'll notice right off the bat that they are wheelchair bound. So this is our first wheelchair operator in Rainbow Six Siege. That of course means they cannot go up and down stairs and stay away from roof hatches. They will insta-kill you. And this of course now means that we have 2 disabled operators in Rainbow Six Siege. Alright, that's all the jokes out of the way, so let's just jump into how this operator works, because this operator doesn't appear in the game. They're in the main menu, but that's it. So when you load into a game with this operator, you are not the girl in the wheelchair. Although I will mention that this is the operator who helped to create Glaz's rework, which gave him a thermal scope around about 7 years ago, and they decided to actually then bring her into the lore of the game, and she's originally from the game Rainbow Six Raven Shield. So yeah, how does she work? And it's pretty simple. She's a remote worker, she's at home chilling, and she's on her laptop controlling 2 robots in the battlefield. And these are her operators. And it's cool as hell. So it's kind of how you might imagine it. She has one robot that's inactive. It has a big shield that's up, protecting it. And then she is active in the other robot. The only thing that maybe doesn't make sense from just initially thinking about this is if she dies while controlling a robot, she cannot get into the other one and then control it. So she doesn't have 2 lives. However, let's say you're in a firefight and you go down to 1 health, you can go and then switch to the other robot who then has full health. So if for instance you did a run out at the start of the round and get killed, then your other robot just becomes a fancy looking bulletproof camera. And of course that really doesn't make much sense. You should just be able to log into the robot and continue fighting, but for balancing wise it's a very wise choice. Now let's go over these operators loadouts, and these robots very much are just normal operators in the game with only a few differences that are important. So first of all, these robots are on defense. They're 2 health, 2 speed. And then they have a brand new assault rifle, which is the PCX-33. They've also got the P229 pistol, along with proximity alarms or impact grenades. It should be noted that the secondary gadgets are shared between the 2 robots. So you spawn in as a robot, you have 2 impact grenades. If you switch to the other robot, you have 2 impact grenades. If you throw one, and then you switch back to the other robot, you only have 1. So it's a shared inventory of secondary gadgets. Again, something that's been done for balancing doesn't quite make sense, but I'm totally behind because 4 impact grenades would be pretty awesome on 1 character who shares 2 bodies. But I will say the only thing I'm disappointed about here is that the robots have 1 loadout. It would be so cool if I could customize one to have a shotgun and the other one to have an assault rifle, and that way I could be playing 2 different types of playstyle with the 1 operator. Now let's go over what makes them different being a robot rather than being a meatbag. So first off, the interactions with your friendlies. Both Doc and Thunderbird cannot heal your robots. So if they get damaged, there's just no way in the game currently to actually heal them back up. Because of course, they're made of metal.
Save the extra humans, dumbass.
So all the healing stuff made by Doc and Thunderbird just don't work on them. And then there's a huge amount of interactions with the attackers. And we'll run through some of them right now. So Dokkaebi, when she calls the defenders, this will stop Skopos from switching to the other robot. And as you might imagine, the robots do not have phones. They've got that all internally, so they kind of just make a weird noise when Dokkaebi calls them. They of course also have robot feet, and as such, Jackal now picks up a brand new footprint type from these robots, which is very distinctive. Brava with her clutch drone can also, if she finds the inactive robot, overheat it and destroy it. But the new operator does get a warning. They can actually switch back to it and stop that overheating process. And there's no way for Brava to overheat the active drone. Now let's talk about taking this robot out in combat. So it's a 2 speed, 2 health operator. It's exactly the same as shooting at a normal person. You hit it in the head, it's dead. You hit it in the body enough times, it's dead. Has the same health pool as your normal operators. Now what about Thatcher's EMPs and IQ? Well, the active robot has a protection system in place so that when that robot gets EMP'd, nothing happens. However, if the other robot gets EMP'd, it gets disabled just like normal and it cannot be controlled for a short amount of time. So no switching to that robot at that point. And then it's a similar setup with IQ. She can see the inactive robot on her gadget, but not the active one. But one thing I will say is you can kill both robots. So you now can get 6 kills per round if this robot's in the game. So that means if you find the inactive drone and kill it, you get a kill just like normal. It goes up on the scoreboard, it goes into the kill feed, and you have just gained a free kill basically. However, it may not be as simple as that, because when the drone goes inactive, a shield is deployed. So as long as you position this thing pretty well, you can quite easily protect it, and then your teammates can use it as a bulletproof camera, and you can switch to it at any moment with your other robot. But just like other operators, it is weak to explosives. So if Flores' drone drives up to it and detonates, then you're going to end up with a blown up robot. If Ash shoots an Ash charge at it, the shield will be destroyed, and of course that makes it far more vulnerable to just being shot with normal bullets. And you can also vault over the shield and get behind it as an attacker, so at that point you can just melee the robot or shoot it from behind. You can also run up and smash the glass on the shield so that defenders cannot see out of it with the camera. And again, I will mention you can vault over this thing, and that's maybe where you should hide rather than eliminate the robot, because the active player is the special part here. When they're in that robot, if you eliminate them, they can't control the other one. Whereas of course, if you eliminate the spare one, they can still be running around doing chaos with the other robot. So you could find this robot, vault over it, hide behind it, and just simply wait for that person to switch back to the robot. When they do, you melee them, and that's it. They are out of the game. So let's move on to summary and conclusion. So this is a really good operator, and like I said, the wheelchair operator, who is the actual operator in this season, doesn't appear in the game. They are not playable, they don't appear in rounds, they are not there. In fact, you can actually see her face when you're switching from drone to drone. So she is playing remotely, just like we play our operators in the game via a screen. She is doing exactly the same thing. So she is not present. Instead, it is just two robots. When you spawn in, both robots spawn in. You can then reposition the one you want to have hidden or in a protected position. Then you run around in the active one, and you can of course engage in combat. You can take damage, potentially die, but if you get low health, you can also switch to the other robot, or if you just want to flank the enemy, you can switch to the other robot. So this is a really excellent operator, and I think it's going to be a ton of fun to play. I think they're also relatively well balanced, and they're interesting. So there's something to really get deep on in this, and setups are going to be really cool to do with this operator. And then overall, I don't know if they're good. They could end up being terrible in actual gameplay, but I'll be interested to see how that plays out. So at this moment in time, my conclusion that this operator is top tier, not necessarily for power, but for just being cool and very, very different. Now, when it comes to the rest of the season, I think it's kind of 50-50. The content isn't really there. They're still chasing the cheaters. They haven't caught up with them, and they're still having big issues, but they seem to be moving in the right direction in a lot of places, and I'll be making additional videos on all of that, as a whole bunch of stuff has of course been revealed for that too, along with additional like little reworks and tweaks to operators that I'll go over as well. And the Mythbuster series will return this season because there is enough stuff to actually check out and break down. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.